forget about over, under, or fairly valued. We got 5 major catalysts coming up. One of them is optics. 4 of them are actual catalysts where it could bring in revenue. So we have the NHS contract that leads the way to more national health contracts with other countries because, United Kingdoms is a leader in the world, just like the United States is. We have the Titan contract that hopefully goes our way, which is going to increase more government contracts, maintenance contracts, and you see it. We start small, we keep expanding. You have S&P 500, which is completely optics, but it's going to, increase the share price, but it doesn't actually help the bottom line, right?
People are going to buy shares if we get into the S&P. That is a catalyst. We're 2 quarters away.
Let me rephrase. I mean, that's more of an optics, right? It doesn't actually reflect to anything. You know what I mean? It's optics. It's not actual money or substance. Yeah. But for sure, it's a catalyst, like I mentioned. And then, in my opinion, I believe that this war is going to be over in 2024. In my personal opinion, which I believe is going to be a major catalyst because Ukraine is going to be as big as the UK. If Ukraine has some type of resemblance of a win, loss, whatever you guys want to call it. If they're standing and they're rebuilding, Palantir is going to be there. And a major catalyst that most people are not taking into account. If Trump wins the election, specifically Trump, in these reports that I was talking about earlier, Trump pushed the fuck out of Palantir. He loves Palantir because Palantir saves U.S. military servicemen and women lives. That's why Trump loves Palantir, because it saves.
You actually saw some stuff connecting Trump to Palantir, or you're
not in the official report that I was reading, but the more I'm digging deep, yes, they mentioned Trump's Palantir in a lot of the reports.
Peter
when I say
shaking his hand at the famous picture, we both.
Yeah, for sure. So there, Trump is. That's where he got warp speed from. So Trump recognizes that Palantir is good for the military. It saves lives. Trump loves the military. I don't want to get political here. But yes, they mentioned Trump and Palantir in a lot of words. That's why Palantir is hated on a lot. So all these things are major catalysts for Palantir that can get them to fill the shoes that they're in right now. I just wanted to add that. We do have major catalysts. It's not as good as Bed Bath & Beyond 3 for $10 shampoos, but it is a major catalyst happening.
Bed Bath & Beyond 3 shampoo. I paid $14.99 for a bottle of shampoo. Yeah, 3 for $10 is pretty good.
I hate you, Amit, and you're good here. I hate you.
We got someone backstage. This is a guy I really respect, fan of the pod, Crossroads. Thank you for being here.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on. I wanted to ask a question. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think that, well, just preface it. I think the hardest thing for a lot of us is how to handle not when the stock goes down. You just dollar cost average if you have high conviction and you just keep adding like we've done. But what if, and Palantir's run up a lot, but what if this year we see new all-time highs in Palantir and we're not seeing anything like quarter 2 earnings, good, quarter 3 earnings, they're good as well, but nothing that's just blowing us out of the water. How do you handle that? Like, what is that going to change anything that you do with your portfolio as far as like selling out covered calls? Are you going to take a position off the table? New all-time high this year. What do you do if earnings are just kind of decent?
So Sachin, I think this is a good question for you. Let's say Palantir hits 35.40. What are you thinking? Or even 30? How would you play it?
I mean, I will sell in the money covered calls, to be honest.
How deeply do you go, like in the money, or how do you determine that for yourself?
It depends, like where the price is. Okay, I mean, like at this particular point, like if you ask me, like before earning, I mean, to be honest, I expect the move around earning to be around 30% this time. Okay, I mean, of course, everybody builds model. I build a model. All models are wrong. Some are useful. Okay, but given the kind of run it has made, if it beats on earning that even fuel, I think there will be many in buying. And if it's just okay, I think the market will dump it. Okay, you can always go back and see how Palantir react around earnings. Okay, the move is always in the order of that. So I'm not expecting anything to be different this time. Again, I think people have to understand, like people say, okay, if it is covered calls, your stocks got called. I mean, has happened with me in past. Okay. it's part of your risk management. Okay, and there is nothing wrong in that. I mean, you need to, people say like, just keep investing everything and just keep, man, at the end of the day, you have a life to live. Okay, I'm 45. I don't have to live life after 75. Okay.
So
And
question,
the reason I think,
are you also on the 2030 time frame where Palantir, or are you kind of know when it hits your targets, you're out of it? You don't really care for a decade.
I mean, I don't even have to sell in 2030 if everything is going better at that particular time, or I don't get, I mean, I get better opportunities. Okay. So, I mean, why to sell?
Well, you have a yacht to buy. That's why.
Yeah. I mean, but it doesn't mean that I'm not selling covered calls. And see, no stock goes up, and you can be wrong at times. But that's what I say, that these strategies are more dynamic. Okay. And you have to have patience. When Palantir was 1899 at that particular time, nobody thought it will go to 16. It did go to 16. When first time it went to 17.3, nobody thought it will dip below 14. It did get. So there is, I mean, this whole idea of that market gets exhausted and there is some profit taking. These are real things. I mean, people have built their careers around it. I mean, if you are a buyer of market efficient theory and all those things, I mean, I have nothing to say to you. But at the end of the day, the kind of philosophy I follow, and I have told it earlier, I'm a big fan of market wizards. There is inefficiencies and things like this happen. Okay, sometime you will get it wrong also. Like people who were thinking Nvidia is expensive at 290, probably they may not get time anytime. Yeah, so it is. So if it happens, it happens. Okay, that is fine. I mean, there is there are like counter strategies that you can deploy still to make money out of stocks. If your stocks get called out, for example, you can say long dated puts, you can sell that. Okay, you can take a portion of that money, and in nearest correction, even if it is above your called out price, you can still buy near term options. Okay, it might pay, it might not pay, who knows that.
Crossroads, go ahead.
Yeah, that's really helpful because I'm trying to figure that out. I've sold covered calls, not in the money, because I think you're right. We're going to see at least a 30% move. I could see easily us getting above 26 with just everything hits just nicely or just dumping down. But we have a little bit of a volatile stock. But yeah, just imagining because I was not initially as far as a DPO investor, but I remember some guys that were original investors, and maybe some of them are listening to this, that they bought in at 10 and it ran to 45 and they didn't sell, and then they saw it go all the way back down. And it's like, I have for me, it's an 8.5-year time target. So I started the decade once I started my first buy, but I can adjust that a little bit. But I still, like, if we go to like 45 after Q2 earnings and they're just okay, it's like, man, I'm just like, okay, what would I do with those that are not, going to be called away? I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's pretty much impossible to happen, but sometime this year it could. Just the way that the AI momentum is building, Palantir continues to execute, and so I'm just like, okay. I know, Amit, you're gonna just like hold on to every single share until
no, because I really like what Sachin just said. I mean, that a couple words you said just kind of opened my mind, right? When I said, "Do you want to sell 2030?" He's like, "Why to sell?" It's kind of like, if your expenses are taken care of, why? If it's a fucking like, are you selling Tesla at $1 trillion? No, I mean, the OGs are like, well, let's let that bitch run,
Yeah.
It obviously depends on a lot of execution from Palantir, so we'll see. But Adam, go ahead.
So go ahead.
Adam, then Sachin. Go ahead, Adam.
Adam, you go
I
first.
was going to say, all right, cool. I was going to say that to answer this, we were going over it earlier today. So I sell covered calls every single week. I basically make a salary, somebody's normal salary for the year, and I sell them weekly. Sometimes I'll buy them on Tuesday. I'll sell them on Tuesday. I only do green days, 20% out of the money. I'll take my 2 cents a share, maybe 3 cents a share normally, and I make myself a weekly salary. Now, you don't have to have as many shares. You can have less, but it's still additional money that you're making. On really green days, like I bought earlier today, I ended up getting 2.5 times premium what I usually do because it was a green day, and I sold like 28% out of the money for this week. So also, if you do get called and it's in a non-tax deferred account, you just need to have a credit line and you can buy the shares and you'll be okay. Or if it's a tax deferred account, what's the big deal? You sell them, you rebuy them, right? But you're also selling them for 30% on top. On top of that, you never actually have to sell your shares, like Sachin and Amit were saying. Wealthy people don't sell, they don't pay taxes, they borrow against, and they live their life. You only sell if it helps you achieve something in life. Buy a house, put a deposit down on the house, or something that's important in your life. That's what I wanted to say. But yeah, I sell them every single week, and it's super lucrative. Nobody takes advantage. It's absolutely absurd to me.
Yeah, so Map Money I know does it, and I do it as well, and it's very nice, especially like on days like today. My goodness.